Episode 306. Word of a team wipe had the guilds going absolutely berserk. Now that their top players had reached level 33, they naturally set their sights on the boss of Blazing Forest, the Fire Witch. When not running dungeons, the guild's elite teams would level up here, fighting monsters while keeping an eye out for the wild boss. This activity doesn't foster unity. Hunting a wild boss is seen by guild members as a private affair. They don't want to share that little bit of privacy. Even within their own team, they wouldn't operate as a single unit. They'd split into smaller squads. That way, they'd have a much better shot at actually finding the boss. And they did find a boss. It just wasn't the Flame Witch, it was Lord Grim. Lord Grim's aggro range is infinite. His endurance in battle is immense. He'll launch frontal assaults, execute sneak attacks, and employ encirclement tactics, all while his patrol area remains unpredictable. He actively sought out players and launched his attacks. In moments, word spread through Blazing Forest. Lord Grim had scored a hat-trick, and 3 players had been eliminated. Elites, huh? These are all the elites from the major guilds, the ones who get first dibs on the best food, the best drinks, and the best gear. As a result, the elites scrambled to call their teammates to concentrate their forces, which gave Lord Grim an even more convenient opportunity to take down the boss. The new report wasn't about a hat trick anymore. It was a full team wipe, 6 players gone. They were actively trying to link up with other guildmates in Blazing Forest when they had the misfortune of running into Lord Grim first. They were sent straight back to Kongji City to report in. The Blazing Forest had become a terrifying place, like something out of a horror movie, full of the unknown and deadly threats. In a place like this, the best strategy is to get out while you still can. The elite players began to withdraw. They were the future of their guilds, the prized flowers carefully cultivated. They couldn't be allowed to be trampled by someone like Lord Grim. The major guilds were already mobilizing their forces, heading for Blazing Forest. But at this moment they lacked precise intel. Where exactly was Lord Grim? No one knew. A headache, nothing but a headache. In all their years of experience, these veterans had never encountered an opponent like this. The most common threat from the big guilds was, "We'll kill you on sight." But now, every time they see this opponent, they're the ones who died. Maybe they didn't lose everything when they died, but they always left something behind. But up to now, have they managed to kill Lord Grim or any of his crew even once? The answer offered a sliver of consolation. At least they'd managed to kill Soft Mist twice yesterday, and today they'd forced Steamed Bun Invasion to his death once. But compared to the elite players they had sacrificed, this small victory did nothing to soothe their wounds. If not for this situation, they wouldn't be so troubled right now. In fact, they'd likely be saying with glee,
"Look, even though we didn't kill Lord Grim, we forced him to run all over the place, severely limiting his movements. His leveling speed has already been dragged down. Our objective has been achieved."
That's a fact. From yesterday until now, Ye Xiu and his team's leveling speed couldn't match their usual pace. Their activities were severely restricted. A 10-minute journey now took 20 minutes, or even longer, to avoid trouble. That's why Ye Xiu chose to take the initiative and strike first. Even if their progress was slowed, they were determined to drag as many others down with them. He couldn't kill every member of the major guilds, but he could shatter their resolve. He knew full well that in truth, he and the guilds weren't actually in competition. The real rivals are the other guilds themselves. If all the guild's elite players were losing levels right now, then it wouldn't matter to them. The problem was, many guilds weren't part of their operation. Ye Xiu was clear on his policy. He wouldn't touch those who left him alone. He only hunted down the ones causing trouble. After tallying their casualties, these guilds were deeply annoyed at those who weren't participating in the hunt. Moreover, with their own losses mounting while others stayed safe, they began to worry about their guild's future development. But with a hunt like this, could they really keep it up with any confidence? The major guilds, their doubts notwithstanding, pressed on with their operation. The elite players withdrew from Blazing Forest, and a pursuit team of over 100 charged in. Glory's maps are vast for a single leveling zone. This number of people is actually pretty thin. They're nowhere near enough for a proper sweep. Besides, they no longer dared to underestimate Lord Grim's strength. Spreading out too thin would just be handing him opportunities on a silver platter. Once the 100+ players entered Blazing Forest, they formed into squads of 3 to 5. They advanced in rapid bursts, staying close enough that if they encountered Lord Grim, dozens could quickly converge. Only after establishing this formation did they feel secure enough to begin scouting their surroundings. The players active in Blazing Forest were all familiar faces. Those who could appear in Blazing Forest now were undoubtedly the top-tier players of the 10th server, and such characters were almost exclusively cultivated by their major guilds. Watching others level up and fight monsters in such a pleasant, relaxed way, the poor souls chasing Lord Grimm all over the map were filled with envy. At the same time, they deeply resented these guild players for just sitting back and reaping the rewards. According to incomplete statistics, as soon as this 100-strong hunting party entered Blazing Forest, the number of player deaths during leveling there immediately spiked. As for whether someone was playing dirty and taking cheap shots, there was no way to tell for the moment.
Where the hell is Lord Grimm?
The pursuit team had found no trace of Lord Grimm and his two companions for hours, and grumbling spread through their ranks.
If we can't find him, it at least means he's actively avoiding us. That means he can't level up in peace either. So in the end, our goal is still being met, isn't it?
Chen Yuhui spoke, calming the group's restless mood. He himself wasn't the least bit anxious. In fact, he felt like singing a song to praise the current situation. The major guilds have all taken a hit, and Ye Chu has been severely restricted. This mutually destructive situation is absolutely perfect for him. It's exactly the outcome he was hoping to see.
With nowhere left to grind, what's the point of him staying logged in? Why not just log off?
Someone in the party remarked that if Lord Grimm was offline, they could relax and focus on leveling. But the guy was stubbornly logged in, forcing them to constantly search and ask around.
Let's not waste time. Might as well kill some mobs while we're at it.
Another player suggested, and so the 100-strong joint army began hunting goblin mobs within the Blazing Forest. It was quite a spectacle. But with so many people splitting the experience, it's barely worth mentioning. As for Yeshu and his group, they were indeed still inside the Blazing Forest. The forest's terrain was even more convoluted than the maze-like one-line canyon, making it ideal for evasion. Yi Shu started out with a bold ambition to see if he could use the terrain to pull off a 100-man slaughter. But after a closer look at the formations of the major guilds, he knew a 100-man slaughter was out of the question. They were veterans, after all, and were growing more aware of his capabilities, so they weren't leaving any major openings anymore.